It would be an understatement to say that 2025 is a great year for anime. Am I right, One Punch Man fans? I mean, just look at this list of amazing sequels and even new shows. Not to mention anime movies, the Demon Slayer movie breaking box office records, Chainsaw Man movie, giving us the masterfully crafted cinema experience we needed. Honestly, keeping up with all the anime that came out this year have been so exciting and also exhausting. So, as the year is coming to an end, I was looking back on all the anime that have come out to try and find some hidden gem. Because in the midst of so many anime being released, usually there are a few great shows that just went under my radar. And that's when I found Apocalypse Hotel, Clavates, Yaiba. These are some of the titles I considered making a video about. But out of all of that, there is one particular show that really strikes a chord in me. It's a music anime called
I can explain.
Rock is a Lady's Modesty is an anime about Lily, a girl of common roots, whose mother remarries to a super elite family. Because of these circumstances, Lily finds herself in the institution reserved only for wealthy young ladies. Lily loves rock music. Unfortunately, rock is viewed as music for the commoners. Thus, Lily is forced to abandon her love for rock and put on this facade of a rich girl who only loves classical music. Like any other music anime, our MC eventually meets somebody just like her for real. Enter Otto, a student from the same academy who plays drums. I'm guessing most of you already know where the story is going at this point. Judging from the premise itself, I admit I struggled to find the selling point of the show. But I'm doing what I should be doing, and that is to give it a chance by keep fucking watching. So I kept watching, and thank God I did. Because I never thought two anime girls playing their favorite instrument could go this hard. And part of why those performances feel so intense is because the show isn't afraid to take advantage of 3D animations. Most of the time, Rock is a Lady's Modesty presented itself in a 2D fashion, only switching to 3D when the girls were playing, which is to be expected, but the moment it switched styles, it went insane. Instead of a shortcut, it feels intentional. It supports them, in fact. It gives the music physicality. You feel the weight of the movements, the aggression and intensity, and just the overall energy to get your adrenaline going each time. Now, this isn't something I immediately realized during my viewing of the first episode, but the reason I continue watching, craving to see these two girls perform again, is that I get to witness what feels to me like art in its purest form. Self-expression and communication. As Lily's strumming her guitar, as Otto's hitting the drums, I get reminded why I fell in love with art in the first place. You see, in an era where AI art exists and the so-called AI artists believing they are also artists, it has caused many of us to start to forget that art was never just about the output, it's also about the context behind it. You can take a look at the Mona Lisa and think it's not the most beautiful or complex painting you've ever seen, and well, the huge painting across the Mona Lisa is arguably better by some people's standard. But again, it's not just about the output, but also the context. Every drop of sweat, every strained breath, the girl can strum her guitar once, yet thousands of emotions are conveyed. As these two girls are giving their heart out, covering a song, so many dialogues are being exchanged, even though there's no talking during their jamming session. It's almost as if the instruments are screaming themselves. So now you might be asking, let's take for example, Bocce the Rock and Girls Band Cry. Both of these shows are a lot similar to Rock is a Lady's Modesty. All three of them are about a group of teenage girls dealing with personal issues and eventually found their escapism through rock music. While this is the case, I do think it's a bit unfair to judge it on the same scale because each of them have different themes that they are trying to bring. Bocce is a lot about anxiety, social isolation, and a lot more to do with learning to exist in a space with other people. Whereas Girls Band Cry is more about rage, frustration, and screaming back at a world that already gave up on you. On the other hand, Rock is a Lady's Modesty is about social restraint, etiquette, and the quiet violence of expectation. And also screaming plus middle fingers. Lily deals with suppression. Her struggle is not just that she can't play, but she shouldn't even want to. When she picks up a guitar, it's improper and can be viewed as an act of defiance. Sure, all three do have some subjects that overlap. Heck, they even went through the same shit. You know, the usual music anime ingredients, the struggles of forming a band, finding a band member, the obstacles of finding the first gigs, and so on. But here's where the show quietly separates itself from the rest. The band doesn't have a vocalist. Yes, you heard it right. It's an instrumental rock band. That might sound like a small detail at first, but thematically, it's kind of everything. In most music anime, the voice is the centerpiece, the place where emotions are spelled out, where lyrics tell you exactly what the characters are feeling. Here, there are no words to hide behind, which feels almost poetic for a story about girls who are never allowed to say what they truly feel. And I love how they explore this concept. Deciding to be an instrumentalist is not an easy choice, and the members understand it. They knew having a lack of vocals can be unconventional for many people, and it's just not what most are used to. Still, they committed to it and didn't really give a fuck about it. The decision to remain as an instrumental rock band is their way to express a silent rebellion. Obviously, these types of bands will birth new challenges, and I love that the characters actually banter about it. Being an instrumental band also comes with consequences. When there's no vocalist to naturally be the spotlight, every member is forced to carry emotional weight through their instrument alone. Each song becomes a conversation where everyone has to speak. The result is that every member gets their own moment to shine in their song. There are moments when the guitar leads, when the bass goes fucking chaotic, when the keyboards don't want to lose, and when the drums just completely took over. This makes the performance so dynamic and constantly exhilarating. Another drawback of being an instrumental band is, I think, its potentially limited appeal to a broader audience. But thankfully, this problem is solved by its amazing cast. I don't know about you, but for me, personally, when it comes to these type of shows, it ultimately boils down to the set of characters. If I don't vibe with the personalities of the band, no amount of cool music or clever writing will save the experience. Subjectively, I mean. In my case, I clicked with this group almost immediately. Lily, Otto, Tamaki, Tina. Their chemistry feels volatile yet genuine, and that's exactly what makes them so fun to watch. This, mixed with sprinkles of Yuri fan services throughout the episodes, managed to keep me engaged the whole time. Sometimes, when one of them felt overwhelmed by the other's performance, the show would throw you this wild Yuri imagery, and hey, I am not complaining by the way. The four of them are also, surprisingly, really funny, though in my opinion, the highlight goes to our main duo, Lily and Otto. Witnessing both of them giving their all to the music they played, only to scream and diss at each other's performance like crazy at the end, is goddamn entertaining. The show is hilarious and can be touching as well when it really needs to. It balances humor and heart very well. I guess that's part of the reason why I can't stop watching. At the end of every episode, when the Netflix next episode button appears, I just rush to click it. How they tease each other, how they banter, how they push each other to be better, and how this group becomes a place where each of them can be their true selves. I never get tired of them. It's not addictive in the I need to know what happens next way. It's addictive in the I want to see them play again way, if that makes sense. This might be recency bias talking, but I do think Rock is a Lady's Modesty is one of the more moving stories that brought up these themes we're already familiar with, to be yourself and embrace your passion. And the reason for that is because the show never forgets why these girls are playing music in the first place. Not to prove anything, not to chase some big ambitious dream, but simply because they love what they are doing. And to say fuck you to the world that restricts them to do so. While they do aim to gain fans and prove their worth as a band later on, their core motivation remains the emotional freedom found in music itself. Rock is a Lady's Modesty doesn't treat music as a goal. Every performance feels less like a milestone and more like a moment where nothing else matters except the sound they are making. And to me, that is why it is so touching and inspirational. I think it's worth saying, the tone in which this show delivers that emotion is different from something like Girls Band Cry. Since Girls Band Cry is more drama heavy, most people will likely find it more emotionally rewarding. Meanwhile, Rock is a Lady's Modesty leans more towards comedy. But I think that's its charm. Even the background music reflects that. Outside of the rock performances, there's this elegant, almost fairy tale-like classical orchestral arrangement, sometimes straight up Disney princess coded, which makes the moments of rebellion feel even louder. It's not less emotional, it's just emotional in a lighter, more playful way. And maybe that's why it is so easy to digest. It never feels exhausting to sit through. It's the kind of show that makes me want to pick up an instrument again. Or at the very least, reminds me why I loved something in the first place. But you know what? Even after I yap about this anime for 10 minutes straight, some people would still decide not to give it a shot just because they don't vibe with this kind of music. And yeah, that's understandable, I guess. Nevertheless, I love this show. It is sad that it seems we won't be getting a season 2 anytime soon because from what I heard, there isn't enough content to be adapted. Regardless, whether we're getting a season 2 or not, I enjoyed my time with this anime. Probably a little bit too much, so I really want to talk about it.